Yeah. Well, Laura, you also mentioned about how history is starting to repeat itself. So back at Iago Tower, we're in very much the same situation as what happened years prior with Gomez. It's now happening with Pugsley. And things start to go crazy, right? Isaac, we learn, was at the request of his sister asked to, instead of removing her condition because she believes that it's too late for her, to remove Tyler's condition. And so after Tyler straps down Pugsley, Isaac grabs Tyler and puts him on the table. And you can see that Tyler's, and I want to talk more about Tyler because he definitely feels a sense of betrayal here, both by his uncle and by his mother. And it's ultimately Wednesday who shows up and frees Tyler from this situation, but not before Tyler asks her to kill him. And Wednesday, frees him instead of killing him. And her rationale for it is that she missed. And we know that Wednesday doesn't miss. So
No.
I'm curious, just to take a pause here, what your thoughts are on this particular moment. And is this setting up more between these two characters down the road?
I really hope that it is setting up Tyler to get what he deserves ultimately. I'm kind of hoping that we're not about to do a redemption arc for Tyler. And I was reading on Reddit that there are some fans that are kind of gunning for this idea of a redemption arc so that Wednesday and Tyler can maybe rekindle their romance. And I'm like, I don't see how that happens after a man actively watches you get buried alive. And yeah, he looks a little conflicted about it in the moment, but he still leaves her there. So I'm just like, I don't see how there's any hope for these characters to rekindle anything. So I wonder if this was Wednesday maybe thinking, you're going to get yours, but not yet. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that might be the case. I also just think that she kind of knew that she needed him to distract his mother. And I think maybe she thought, okay, and he's also upset about the fact that they've tricked him into doing this, right? So, he's kind of feeling vengeful, and I think she's hoping that he'll follow that extreme feeling and that they'll keep each other occupied while she has a better shot at making sure Pugsley doesn't die. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Yeah, I know that there's a lot of what do they call them, Weiler shippers out there, so that doesn't surprise me. I mean, where there's a show, there's a ship. So it doesn't surprise me to hear that Reddit is abuzz with people hoping there's a redemption arc there. And I think that they're very smart in the writer's room with the way that they've kind of played this up, because it's not necessarily that I think you could see it kind of going either way. But we have her Jenna Ortega say that she doesn't feel like ultimately Wednesday is interested in romance the way other traditional characters would be. So I would be very, very surprised if they're just not using something like this as a bait, an easy bait for people that want to see some kind of romance in there.
Yeah. I will say, Pam, you just made me think of something with relation to Wednesday's decision to free Tyler. When you mentioned that Tyler is feeling betrayed by his family, Wednesday kind of feels betrayed by hers too.
Yeah.
Throughout this season, because there's been a lot that's been kept from her. And ultimately, I think keeping a lot of those family secrets from her has ultimately played out to her detriment. It has not helped her or protected her in any way. So maybe there was some empathy there.
Well, one of you mentioned that it with Tyler and Francois, it's like a mother's knows best situation. I think that's what we've been seeing Morticia kind of try and pull on Wednesday without very much success. But there is a point when they realize that Pugsley's been taken that she's like, hey mom, no more lies, and she's still trying to keep secrets. And I think that they, by the end of the season, she realizes how dangerous it is to keep secrets, since they keep coming back to haunt this family. But it takes a while to get there to that point. So yeah, maybe that is, to your point, maybe that is the place where they kind of see eye to eye just in this moment. So
Yeah.
I do
I
think
love that.
that we are headed to some sort of redemption for Tyler. How that's going to play itself out remains to be seen. But as was alluded to, by freeing Tyler, there's this big hide battle that takes place, really cool action sequence, and it ultimately results in the death of Tyler's mother. And that also, in a way, frees him, right? This is kind of the second freeing moment for him because he's no longer under her control and he is free to do what he wants now. Although we know that a hide without a master is not a good thing, particularly on the male side. So more to come on what happens to Tyler by the end of this season. But in a very kind of big moment, and look, things are not going very well for the Galpins and the Knights here. It's and for Tyler, it's got to be tough too, because he has found his family, he's found his mother, he's found his uncle, and now they're both going to be taken away from him. And it's ultimately Thing that shows his true allegiance and decides that he is going to rip out Isaac's heart. And is this like a Poe reference here? There's got to be something here. I'm not sure which story it is. Is it the Telltale Heart?
I think there are definitely some loose allusions there for sure. I think that we could probably do a really in-depth reading on stories like that to draw comparisons to things that happen in the show. But it was just like poetic justice for Thing to be like, no, I have autonomy. I am my own person, which was kind of the whole point of the therapy sessions he was going to, was, even though we are like we are more than the sum of our parts, right? We are whole, even if we don't know exactly where we came from. And Thing really gets that full circle moment when he's like, no, I will not be your right-hand man.
Well, and in like the sequence as it plays itself out, he's trying to kill Wednesday, right? With Thing being like at the actual forefront of this attack, right? He's using the hand to try and drain the life from her, and Thing wants nothing to do with that, right? Because I mean, you can make the argument he loves Wednesday at the end of the day. So much like when all of them were at Nevermore years ago, Iago Tower explodes. Thankfully, all of the Addams family are safe, and then we get the moment, as mentioned, where Thing turns on Isaac, rips out his heart, and there's this really kind of, you could say, like, emotional scene of Thing detaching himself from Isaac and crawling back to the Addams family.
Yeah, it was very wholesome in like a macabre sort of way, which I would expect nothing less from the show.
Yeah. They really just like, I feel like the way that they've fleshed out Thing as a character is just so impressive, considering that he doesn't speak and he's just a hand. But then I keep thinking back to, season 1 where he almost died and I was like sitting there crying, watching this like hand slowly lose life. And it's kind of like the same way. You feel bad that he feels bad, even though, there's no expression. It's I don't know. I'm just continuously impressed by how they have literally fleshed out a character that has no facial expressions, no lines, no nothing really. So
Totally.
well, to wrap things up here, we leave Wednesday off, as we've alluded to a few times in this discussion, heading up north with Uncle Fester. I'm glad they brought Uncle Fester back because
Me
he kind of
too.
disappeared into the night. And I was just like, wait a minute. It just felt like he was missing from a lot of this third act. And
I
so,
agree.
yeah, that was the only thing. But anyway, so they are heading off together on his motorcycle to find Enid because she was seen heading up north towards Canada. And then Miss Capri also makes a bit of a comeback. She's been an interesting character this season because she kind of, there's always been something kind of shifty about her. And we see her have this moment with Tyler where basically she offers him a pack, which supposedly will help keep him safe. So we find out that even though she's a werewolf, her father was a Hyde. And so she might have some information that will be beneficial to him. Pugsley also gets a nice little like wrap up to his story. He finds a friend. And they're going to hang out this summer. That's all he's wanted this whole time. So it just kind of feels like a nice way to put a bow on his story. But I think that the biggest revelation here is that Aunt Ophelia is alive, and it turns out Grandmama's been keeping her locked up in a cellar.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, definitely a big cliffhanger to end off of because it definitely seems like we'll be seeing more of her in season 3. Did you guys get that vibe too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, especially with what she was writing on the wall.
Right.
Wednesday must die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It also made me wonder too, and we can kind of dive a little bit deeper now. What else does Grandmama have in her basement? Because it wasn't
That's
just
a good question.
one like locked space that was down there where Aunt Ophelia was hiding out. It looked like she has, some skeletons down there for sure.
Yeah. Like,
and what
do you
does
think
Lurch must know all of it because he's, it's like he's everybody's right hand in the Adams
Right.
family. But we see him go down there with her. And you had actually sent me an interesting theory about Lurch, Micah. And it's that we haven't really talked about the fact that he has this strange eye that, we see in all the crows and stuff like that. So maybe there's more to him.
And we do see that Raven at the end of the finale as well, flying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and we know that at least the original avian was killed by Slurp. So who's controlling that Raven now?
Exactly. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I hadn't really. I think they've been very strategic with Lurch to not. Like, I think they've been using him in a lot of ways that maybe we, like viewers, haven't put together yet, but probably in season 3, we're going to learn more. I was definitely wondering the same thing about, like, what else is in Grandmama's basement. And I was like, is Cousin
Or
It
who else?
down there? Like,
Yeah.
because there are definitely other members of the Addams family that we haven't met yet. Cousin It is really the one that comes to mind for me. But there is another grandmother character because and this is just me talking to my parents because they remember the reruns of the show. But like, there were like it was like a multi-generational household that they were living in. So yeah, I think we're going to meet more people, and I think it's going to turn out that Grandmama is probably got some nefarious intentions. I mean, I think that comes across in the way she's played by Joanna Lumley, she was fantastic. I freaking loved her. The only other thing I really know her from is Absolutely Fabulous. I don't know if y'all ever saw
Yeah.
that Britcom. Oh, it's so funny. You really should watch it if you haven't. That'll be like my unofficial recommendation. But she nailed this part. I loved her. Every time she was on screen, it was just delicious. Like, wonderfully diabolical.
And so much of this particular season was about family. It felt like, whether you were talking about Tyler's family, you were talking about the Addams family, where you're talking about found family. And Grandmama, she was interesting because even in the moment where, because she's present, you learn that Gomez lost his powers because she's so critical of him, and I guess critical of Morticia for marrying him, somebody who doesn't have any quote unquote ability. She doesn't seem to really flinch. Like, it registers for her. And you would think somebody who really did so much to protect her daughter would have a little bit more empathy for Gomez, particularly in that moment, but it doesn't seem to affect her.
You
I
know,
think she's just one of those people that doesn't like to be proven wrong. And she had said, that whole thing about how, like, she felt like Gomez was less than because he was he wasn't an outcast enough because he didn't have a power. Clearly did not know that the reason why he's powerless. Just thought that her daughter married a guy that was not suited for her, was beneath her. But yeah, it's interesting because, like, we really do get three different mother-child dynamics this whole season. And Morticia is hard on Wednesday in a different way. But then seeing how Grandmama treats Morticia, you kind of see how she's trying to break the pattern in her own way. But then she's also hard on Wednesday in her own way. She doesn't trust her. Similarly, like how her mother didn't trust her. So lots of generational trauma.
Totally.
To go around.
It's like, yeah, Morticia, like, I think she swung so far in the opposite direction from her mother that, like, the way that ended up manifesting for her with Wednesday was through withholding.
Yes.
And that it's like, she tells herself it's because she wants to keep her daughter safe, but it's like, is there more to it than that?